British independent cinema. You gotta dare a little. Because I come from theatre, I still can't quite believe there's snacks on set. Stacks of people outside the Peckham place selling it out for days. I had aunties taking my numbers. Yes, auntie, take my numbers. I feel so lucky and privileged to be doing the things that I'm doing. I want to be able to prove that it's not just me. Other people can do it too. That's what you can do with movies. You can really get people talking. In doing that, you always expand what it means to be British, what it means to be black.
Hello and welcome to the BIFA Podcast, supported by Kia, hosted by me, Joy Hunter.
And me, Karis, Aldridge. Each week we'll be talking to a new guest from the world of independent film about their journey into the industry, their most inspiring cinema-going experiences, and what makes independent film so special.
We sure will. We've basically convinced the British Independent Film Awards to let us fangirl over movie stars to their face, haven't we, Karis? Which is very
Indeed,
exciting.
yes. And this week, our guest is David Jonsson.
Oh my God, this is such an exciting one. You'll know David Jonsson from his roles in Industry, in Alien Romulus, and of course the 16-time BIFA nominated rom-com Rye Lane, which we both loved.
I loved it so much. And this year he won the BAFTA Rising Star Award, which is a huge deal. He joins previous winners, including a few small people you might know: Kristen Stewart, Tom Hardy, James McAvoy.
Yeah, so, whatever happened to them?
Yeah, I don't know. And his speech was so lovely. He dedicated the award to the people, saying, as long as we keep telling stories about people, I think there'll be a space for me and people like me.
He also added, with what seems like a trademark humility off the back of our conversation, star, I don't know, but rising, I guess, is how he ended that speech. It was so beautiful. But I think we know, don't we, Karis?
We definitely
We've decided for him, basically, that he is a star. And I'm sure everyone will agree by the time they've listened to this episode. So let's get into it, and please enjoy our chat with the amazing David Jonsson.
Thank you so much for having me. God, I love BIFA and I love you guys. Really nice to be here.
It's such a pleasure, and BIFA loves you. So can't wait to get into everything from the beginning of your career to everything that you're getting up to right now. It's kind of funny because I feel like you've kind of admitted that film kind of came to you a bit later. You kind of love poetry and things. Around the age of 16, I think, is where you went to New York. I mean, it's such a buzzy city. I can't imagine being 16 and experiencing all of that. So yeah, I'd love to just kind of hear about that experience of falling in love with drama and theatre and being in New York.
It was exactly as you say. It was crazy, you know. It's culture, unprohibited, and you can just kind of delve into whoever you want to be at that time. And I think at 16, maybe it was a little bit too early, but I honestly loved it. You know, I just spent most of my time skating in Washington Square Park, and a lot of the mates that I made there are some of my mates today, and they're artists, filmmakers, you know, bar owners. They, you know, I like the feeling that people are just people, but art is what kind of connects us, and that's what I really found in New York. You know, I never had any money. I was living off dollar-sized pizzas and noodles, you know what I mean, that. I think there's something about art that is fueled at that age, you know, regardless of where you come from or your background. So I loved it. Yeah,
I feel like the art that you kind of consume at that age really sticks with you. It's a very sort of formative, elastic part of your life. Were there any particular inspirations at that time, different art or films, or what were your references at that point in your career?
Theatre has always been a big part for me, and obviously you think about Broadway. You know, again, I couldn't afford theatre tickets, but there was this wonderful woman. God, I think it's called Debbie. I really hope she's still around because I owe her a drink at least. She used to just give me theatre tickets to go and see random people on stage. So I got to see Lebet starring David Hyde Pierce, and it was just, you know, that Lebet is a beautiful play because they're just speaking in verse, and they break it and go to prose once. And again, I was how can you communicate ideas through verse and not make it sound contrived? And you know, at 16, when you're consuming things like that, it really does have such a great influence. And then film came a bit later to me, but living in New York, all I was into was independent cinema, and you know, I found films like Kids, Larry Clark's film from 1995, and again,
heartbreaking one. Oh, God.
I mean, come on, you know, it's and then you think about Harmony Korine and Gus Van Sant. Those films are films that I come back to. I don't know why, they've just kind of made my base for what I think is good. Yeah.
It's a pretty high bar. Good move. Can you tell us a bit about what it was that made you want to come back to London and study at drama school here?
Well, I'm a Brit boy. You know? No, I'm always going to be a Brit boy. London's always going to be home to me. Like, my family are here. They've given me so much, and I think, I don't know, just growing up in London, you just always feel like this is home. So I think regardless of whatever I did in New York, I was always going to come back home.
I find it really interesting because I don't know if it's this way as much now, but I know in the past we had actors like Idris Elba, for example, who spoke quite a lot about almost being forced to move to America because that's where he felt the opportunities were. And it's just interesting to know whether or not you feel like that has kind of, if that sentiment has changed, or if you felt that a little bit as well, or if that was a part of your decision making.
That's a really, really interesting point. I always think about like what part I have in the industry beyond just like doing movies and having fun, you know. And I used to think that people like these kings like Idris and David Harewood and so many that have like climbed this mountain for us, and it's done. Like the doors have been open for like the young people like myself to come through. And I think you realise that it's not as hard as what they had it, but there's still another mountain to climb. I think a lot of it, we have to remember that Britain it's an island. It's absolutely tiny. And the fact that we make films, and this is why BIFA's brilliant, the fact that we make films like the way that we do, that people around the world like consider culturally great, is amazing. We can't stop doing that. We have to keep doing that. I feel a responsibility to always do that. However, what you realise is about balance. Sometimes you've got to pull some cultures from other places and bring it, to here, and vice versa. I find that I'm doing that working on these American projects. I always think about this quote that Gary Oldman said. He said it to Eddie Marzan, who I just love as well. He's East London people, and he said, be an international actor. And he doesn't mean America necessarily. It's like France, Poland. These are all places that I'd love to work one day. Do you know what I mean? And I think in doing that, you always expand what it means to be British, what it means to be black. That means a lot to me.
Sticking with the theme of London and having a lot of formative experiences there, we'd love to chat to you a bit about the film Rye Lane, which obviously was nominated for just 16 BIFAs. Not bad. You could kind of feel the spirit of independent filmmaking all the way through it, I felt. My
mind goes straight back to us making it, and if someone told us that we were going to have the film that we had, I'm not just talking about like the way it was received, but like the product. I'd be like, oh no, like that's not what this is. It was my first movie. It was Viv's first movie, Rain's first movie, and a lot of firsts. And we were just hoping to make something that felt special. And I dare to say that I think we did do that. It was such a brilliant project to do. I think it does demonstrate a lot about British independent cinema. You got to dare a little, and I think Rain did that. Viv, who's just amazing, held that torch as well. So I'm really proud of that film. Really.
It's so great.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Both of you so kind of enigmatic on screen, that chemistry, which I feel like is hard. I presume you guys did some chemistry tests beforehand?
We did. We actually got paired with two different people, funnily enough, and we were like, oh, this is something. And then we met, and I was like, oh, it's definitely Viv. And chemistry is hard. I always say that it's about the love of the project. Chemistry can be found if you love a project enough, if you both do. And I think that we both did, and had a little bit of chemistry of our own.
I mean, the reason that I loved it is it had bits that were kind of like reminiscent of like the Before trilogy, for example, where it's like, that just conversation that's really insightful and real and true, but it had this kind of flair that Rain brought to it, where it's like the colour palette, for example, was just so vibrant, and it just really got the vibe of South London so perfectly, And obviously there's the scene in Peckham Plex as well, which is like so cool for me who lives around the corner,
Oh, wow.
seeing that on screen and knowing that it's such a kind of cultural standpoint for the community. Do you have that for yourself, like any cinemas that that hold that kind of importance to you?
I mean, Peckhamplex is a real special one, and has become that for me now. Like, when the film came out, I actually had to go and start shooting Alien, and so I missed a lot of like what was going on in London. And I just kept getting, me, Viv and Rain have like a group chat, just getting messages from other people that were forwarding it to them of like stacks of people outside the Peckhamplex selling it out for days. I think it was sold out for like 3 weeks straight, which is just, for me, like crazy. That's what movies are about. But to answer your question, I actually do. I do might have some cinemas on my own. I remember there was this. I used to idolise this cinema. It's a picture house in Stratford, and my brother and my sister used to go and watch films there all the time. And I wasn't old enough to go and watch them, like the movies. You know what I mean? So I used to be like, when I'm old enough, I'm going to go and see those films. And eventually, I remember like on my 15th birthday, like showing my ID, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you can go and watch this film." And I remember being like, it's actually not that great. Not the cinema, but just realising, like, you know what I mean, the experience of it.
You'd hyped up so much. You're like this.
Yes, it's exactly. But the joke is that we still now go and like watch some movies there together, just remembering like that's where we grew up. So yeah.
The last thing I saw at Peckhamplex was The Substance, and that was a wild ride.
Oh, that's
a great film.
And it's so cool because I remember like that Rye Lane coming out. It was kind of coming out of COVID and that uncertainty about will people be coming back to cinema. And so it's so incredible to hear you talking about the fact that the community bound together and that it had this huge kind of box office success. Because I think that was a point to the industry to be like, look, when you have an amazing idea and you have something like this, it will bring people back.
I do believe in like cultural moments, and a lot of the things that we do and the stories that we tell can only reach their full capacity in certain moments. And I remember this with Rye Lane. We filmed Rye Lane practically in COVID. You know, we had no idea what we were coming out of, but the fact that like all communities, but especially, in my opinion, the black community came out and really, really showed up. I think it just completely made a lot of the risk that people put into the film completely go, oh, that's why we did it. So I'm really, really just want to shout out to those people that take, especially now I'm producing some things, I just really love those people that are able to see beyond what we can see now. Yeah,
it's always about taking risks, and it's amazing when you see something pay off like that. And there were so many like amazing debuts that came out in that same year. I mean, for BIFA it was How to Have Sex, Scrapper. Did you feel
Society,
so many, and also
like a really
female
strong year.
filmmakers as well. Did you feel that when you were promoting it, that there was just felt like a really strong strong debuts coming out and amazing British talent?
1,000%. You know, one of our first stops for Rye Lane was Sundance. And we were at Sundance with Scrapper, which I love. The film, all the filmmakers in that film I love. And I remember Earth Mama being part of that cohort as well. And I had a lovely chat, coffee with Savannah Leaf the other day. And I'm just like, you know, in awe of her. We was actually dissecting. I was like, what was that time? Because we kept bumping into each other at every event. It was at BIFA, the awards, and we were just looking at each other and was like, you know what I mean? So no, I definitely did feel that it's an honor to be part of those things that are like moving cultures forward and storytelling.
Is there a pattern of something that sticks out in scripts that come across your desk or projects that you decide to go on board to? It seems like you've done quite a lot of varied roles and always kind of subverted expectations across different projects as you've come up.
Thank you. Well, for now I have. I guess, you know, I don't know how long I'm going to keep subverting things.
Sure.
But right now I guess when I read a script, what I'm really looking for is just like a point of view. I think as an actor you have two options. One is to serve the vision, the script, and what someone else is trying to tell, in which case you become an entire vessel, and the other is to showcase something that you believe you have inside you. Sometimes the alchemy in between is exactly where you want to be, and sometimes you find you're on either side. Any place is good. Anything on the outside of it is where I'm like, it doesn't feel right to me. But that's what I guess I look for in a script. How can I serve, or how can I find something that I know is true and put it on screen? You know, after all, we're just vessels, and after all you've really, Daniel Craig said this, all you've really got as an actor is yes or no.
Yeah.
So you just have to find the ways to go like, thank you, but no, or absolutely, let's make this.
Rewinding slightly to Rye Lane, what was it like to film around Peckham?
It was the best. It was absolutely the best. I had aunties taking my numbers, like, and if an auntie asks you for your number, like, kind of chirps in you, like, I'm not going to say no.
Never.
Yes, auntie, take my number. It's absolutely fine. So they're still messaging me now, being like, "Oh, you okay? How are things?" You know. So no, I mean, there's no environment like Peckham. Like, and I really did love it there. You get to see a mix of cultures, and Peckham is an ever-changing landscape. To be part of that culture, you know, in filming our film, it felt so special. So I loved filming in Peckham. It was great. Yeah.
Rye Lane specifically, because obviously, like, there are other parts of Peckham that are like, you know, you're seeing the hints of gentrification and whatever. But Rye Lane, I think the thing that I love about it so much is that it's kind of stayed exactly as it is, you know. And I'm like, okay, I love that, and just hope that it stays like that forever. To be honest.
I remember people making like Rye Lane walks, you know, like tours. Which was, I was like, this is crazy, you know. So I feel really proud of that movie and what it's hopefully done for the community there, because it's all reverence, you know what I mean. It's a community that makes people. It's a community that's made me. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I always wondered, your characters in it, this is like a bit of a sidetrack, but were you meant to walk from Peckham to Brixton? Because I've done that walk, and that's like a good 45 minute, an hour. Do you know, not to demystify the film magic here, but I'm like, that's quite a long walk. You barely break a sweat.
That's why I'm like, where's
like,
this
they're
going?
on the bus. They got the bus. Okay. I just needed to clear that up. I was like, I know.
You see the deleted scenes. There's other things that happen. Exactly.
There's an extended cut where you take the bus for like 45 minutes.
Yeah. We didn't know walking at all.
And there's obviously the really great Brixton Market moment as well with Colin Firth, the blink and you miss it little cameo, which is amazing. And I think I heard that he took you guys out for lunch afterwards.
He did. He's just a legend, like an actual legend. But you're learning about actors that we're all just people, you know what I mean? And he's someone who's kind of made a journey.
Can we ask one more hard-hitting question, which is, what's your favourite cinema snack of choice? So you know, there's a scene in Rye Lane with the ex-girlfriends. Food choices becomes slightly controversial.
That's very true. Yeah. All right. Well, mine's quite easy. It's popcorn, mixed popcorn.
Sweet and salty.
Okay, correct answer.
Thank you. And peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
Nice.
You are talking to a girl with a peanut allergy, but I get it.
I get it. So well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll never go to the cinema together.
No,
but...
hang on, no. I just want to have the peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
I can live. I'm
if you're
very
sure,
malleable.
We're briefly interrupting this programme to let you know that your favourite cinema needs you.
This year, BIFA have launched the inaugural Cinema of the Year award, supported by Kia and decided by you.
Nothing beats that feeling of watching a brilliant film on the big screen, and we want to celebrate the cinemas that allow us to do just that. Cinemas at the heart of their communities that bring audiences together and champion independent film.
Voting is now open for cinema goers to decide the nominees for the Cinema of the Year. So if you love your local cinema, now is your chance to prove it.
Head to the show notes of this episode for the link to cast your vote, and tune in to BIFA's social media on Monday 3rd of November to find out all the nominees for BIFA 2025.
Love to talk about the BAFTA because that I feel like is such a huge point of your career, and I mean you're up there with so many other huge people who have won it, and it feels like an acknowledgement of the industry that you're doing amazing work, but also a bit of a launch pad as well, and a bit of momentum to what's to come. I mean, firstly, how did you find out that you were nominated?
I was shooting a movie in Mexico City. I'd just come off a 22-hour shoot day, and I had a 6-hour turnaround. So I got back to my apartment at like 4 a.m. I went to sleep and I woke up at 3 hours later to like 9 missed calls from my agent and my publicist, and I was like, something's wrong. So
What have I done?
I swear, I'm one of those people. I'm like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
So why are you so guilty? Like, I swear, I'm not doing anything wrong. But
I went to Catholic school, so I do relate.
you know what I mean? But I called them back, and they said, are you sitting down? I said, yeah. They said, you've been nominated for a BAFTA, the Rising Star BAFTA. And I just froze for a minute. They actually really did hit me. I think I cried a bit because sometimes, I guess, in this thing, and a lot of young people who are starting out probably can understand, it's really hard. No matter what level you're working at, you put a lot of hours into trying to make something and do something, and you hope that some people see you, or you hope that you're at least making something worthwhile. And to get that, especially after the 22-hour shoot day in Mexico City, really touched me. So it was a very, very special time.
Must have felt like a bit of a fever dream when you like properly kind of
Yeah.
woke up. You're like, was that real?
Yeah.
Did I imagine that? When you were nominated with your industry
Yeah.
co-star as well, so that's kind of
Yeah.
cool to be going through that experience with her.
Honestly, to be nominated next to those people, it was a crazy time, but doing it with them made it just easy. And I just felt so honoured to be in that room. I was on the carpet with like, the craziest people coming up to me saying they see my work, and I was like, man, Adrian Brody, me and him had some time afterwards where we just spoke for like about an hour. Like, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think about winning. And then they call your name and you just wish you wrote a speech.
Did it feel a bit distinct then because it was voted for by people? That must have sort of
100%.
added a different element to it.
100%. I want to be very clear here. I got a lot of, when you start loving film, you're lying if you say you don't get a lot of your inspirations from like the people that are nominated in a year by like such an amazing body like BIFA, BAFTA, the Academy Awards, etc. So I've got a lot of respect for those members who culture make in a way. It's massive. But this particular award, I'll never get again. Do you know what I mean? I'll never be nominated for again. This is about people, and this was about people seeing and receiving your work. Another thing I really love about that award, it wasn't about popularity. It was about how people receive your work and therefore will pick up their iPad or whatever and vote for you. Like, that meant way more to me than any other thing that could have happened to me at that point in time. And so to win that just made me feel like, man, the people are kind of showing up for me. And that's, again, that thing about learning your craft and putting so much hours into it. It'll be wonderful to have all the box office numbers. That's wonderful. And I think, Rye Lane and all the other things that I've done are doing that. But people watching your work is what you want. So I felt so honoured to get that in proof from the public. It's massive.
Yeah. Especially like in the introduction, it's talking about the fact that film maybe came to you a bit later because you didn't maybe feel seen.
Totally.
So it's that kind of amazing full circle moment, really, to know that there are younger kids seeing themselves in you and that you're probably inspiring, that next generation. It's like an amazing, full circle moment. That's
totally
awesome.
I I don't really say this because I don't really like talking about like charity work, because I think the point of charity is that you just do it. But before it, I saw a lot of kids. I went purposefully to see a lot of kids, and I asked them, please don't like post about this. I just want to talk to you because I don't want to sound like I'm anything special, but I personally don't think there's other actors like me as doing what I'm doing. I feel so lucky and privileged and blessed to be doing the things that I'm doing. I want to be able to prove that it's not just me. Do you know what I mean? And other people can do it too. I guess to win it, just, if anything, may have put something in their minds that, that time was worthwhile. You know what I mean? And what he said is actually true. So yeah, I feel honoured to be part of that alumni.
It really proves the point that representation really truly matters. I know people sometimes might roll their eyes at it, but it does. It's case in point.
Absolutely.
That it makes a huge difference to people who are aspiring for things and think that the art's unattainable for them. So that's huge.
Thank you.
And is there, very important question, a group winners WhatsApp group? Because surely,
And can we join?
Yeah, we'll admit you. Yeah, absolutely, it's fine. No,
Okay.
actually, no. There's actually, I don't. If there is, I'm not in it, which is a bit sad.
that feels like a missed opportunity.
Tell them again. Tell them to make a chat and
Okay.
add me. I'm the newest one. I'm the newest addition. You know, a lot of people that have won have reached out to me and said the very kindest things. And also, again, that moment meant everything to me. And you interpret it for yourself, but the people who have been there before give you some steering as to actually what it means in your career. A great person, and I will say her because she's just brilliant, was Letitia Wright. And she kind of schooled me on, right, this is what's about to happen. and I was really grateful for it, actually, because, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit of a sentimental person sometimes. And she was like, okay, but this is the practical. And it really helped just understand what comes with that.
There's sort of the glitz and glamour of the awards, which is all super exciting, but then there's the kind of navigating what comes after that, right? And it's really important that you have that kind of cohort around you. I know at BIFA we run like support programs for our breakthrough performers and so on, to try and make sure that it's not the only time that everyone's in the room together. With independent filmmaking, we love that it's scrappy and tenacious and you're on tight budgets and everything sort of comes together a bit last minute, and all of that side of it is kind of part of the charm, but it can be quite difficult to get an independent film made, especially in the UK right now. Is there, which is it's such a shame, because with things like Rye Lane, when they do get made, look at the sort of stratospheric success, and, you know, ending up on streaming on Disney, like it's a really good case in point for like how well things can go if people are sort of allowed through the door.
Totally.
This is quite a broad question, but we'd love to know a bit about your perspective on the industry. What would you change to sort of keep that momentum going?
You guys come with the heavy hitters.
Yeah, sorry.
It must be
going
because you're producing now as well, so
Yeah.
you're actually seeing the independent, you know, filmmaking from every side.
Yeah.
So you actually probably really understand the kind of scrappiness of it more than ever.
Do you know, I'm messing around. It's a great question, and I'm glad to be answering it. You know, this new company that I founded with my wonderful producing partner Sophia Gibber, who's brilliant, is
BIFA nominee.
They're BIFA nominee. Thank you very much. I thought I would say it myself, but it might be too much. But you know, the company that we founded called Grey Area is of course there's one side of it that you want to make good things, but it's definitely not about monopoly. It's definitely not about like being the biggest and conglomerate. I have no interest in that. In fact, that's kind of a bit crass and gross to me. What it is to put back. I just spoke about some of these films that I've seen before, like Kids and I go to say Love and Basketball and all the, even Rye Lane, for goodness sake. You know what I mean? All these films, I'm like, right, they did really well for their time, but if we don't actively contribute to find the next thing, that the next kernel from that tree, it will never get seeded. So I think independent cinema and independent film and producing is definitely one way that we can add to it, you know what I mean? And it's not meant to be easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got a good amount of things that we're doing now and a good amount of projects that are being financed and being made that it's been hard already, you know, been very, very hard, but that's independent cinema, and that's why we're lucky enough to have people like BIFA then support and praise you when you do it. So I think that's one way to add to our industry and producing, but I also think just being conscious of the things that are around you. Go and support, go and watch some of these great films. You know, like, I don't think it's good enough to kind of say, oh, I heard about that film. Come on, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Buy a ticket, go and see it. You know, I think that's really important for people that love film. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But if you do love film, I think try and support these people that are doing the impossible.
It'd be really interesting to know what, from your experience as an actor, you've taken with you into your role as a producer. Like, was there lessons learned that you felt were useful when you changed into a different hat, metaphorically?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, you know, I guess on one side, you know, you one of my big things is sensitivity to actors. Do you know what I mean? Actors, like, it's not easy what we do. You know, you put a lot of yourself and you're hoping for so much, and the reward can be a lot or really little, but nonetheless that part of you is out there. So there's definitely that I've taken. But a lot of the things that I also learned from acting is like not the most useful for producing, because you have to think about like, how does this film actually get made? You know, how does this actually exist? And a lot of it is part numbers, is part helping people to finesse a story and thinking about where it lives in the world outside of you. Why did Gary Oldman make Nil by Mouth? You know what I mean? Like, he never had to, but he felt like he needed to. And that's how I feel with producing. I feel like I need to add something. It doesn't work if you're selfish. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I mean, when I say selfish, that sounds so harsh, doesn't it? But when you're like only thinking about yourself and what this does for you and your career, that's not what producing is. So I do like the mixture of that, being able to go, how can I best serve this project? Films live not just because of actors, they tend to live because of all the people that are behind it. And I like being able to curate a community.
I always feel like on a set or in a production, it's kind of like a miniature world, and everyone's got their own little different role, and there's a great sort of marrying of like creative choices and being very sort of free on the acting side, and then the producing side's like thinking of everything 10 steps ahead, and it's all like spreadsheets, and then with, you know, one can't work without the other. It's just such an exciting like
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
And you must have had that on Wasteman, which is your upcoming project starring Tom Blythe.
Yeah, it's one I'm really, really excited about because it's one of our first projects, and the filmmaker Cal McMahon is just so amazing and so brilliant, and one of those kind of directors that I feel could have slipped through the net if we didn't support him. I say we, I mean the wider we, Lionsgate, Agile, all the people that I got behind him. I was in the final mix yesterday. I really don't recognise myself. I lost a lot of weight for it. I lost 40 pounds. I was on 700 calories a day. Oh my God. And it was we shot for 18 days in a prison, you know, amongst real prisoners. And it's just one of those films that is entirely a slice of real life while giving you action and something kind of thrilling. I'm just really proud of the film for what it is, for also the process of making it. Tom Blythe is just brilliant. That's my mate. but he's also really great. And yeah, everyone behind it's been like a real beautiful labour of love. So I'm so proud of that film, and I can't wait for people to see it. Yeah.
Well, get in line. I'll be there.
100%. Yeah.
At the premiere, yeah.
If you're inviting us, we're there.
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely.
BIFA, come on.
We will use the BIFA card as much as possible. That's what I've been doing for a while.
It's got to be done. I think that's exactly what you're saying, of the scrappiness of it, and that it really has to be a labour of love. I think that's what tests you in those moments, and then, as you say, like going to the final mix, or when you do get to go to the premiere, it's being able to see it on a big screen with an audience is that huge payoff, I think, with independent film, of being like, okay, we built this thing, we created a community, and now it's this tangible film that lives in the canon forever, which is awesome.
And you know, I totally, and the reason why I'm also really excited about this particular one is because, you know, we worked, a lot of it is about prison reform and what it means for the wider community, and prison affects all of us, whether you like it or not. If you know someone that's incarcerated or you don't, we still pay the taxes towards it. And what are we actually doing? How are we helping people? We worked with a charity called Switchback, and we really got to know the people there, and we became like mates and a community of people. Again, this is all behind the scenes, so I'm really excited for it to come into the wider world and just see what that conversation is, see what it does. That's what you can do with movies. You can really get people talking.
There's something about being able to discuss a topic without ever feeling like you're being lectured to as well.
Totally.
Which is really something quite special about independent film, especially, I feel.
Totally.
Another upcoming project is Scandalous, which is going to be the new Colman Domingo's directorial debut.
Not only his fashion looks, because the man is the most fashionable person I've ever seen, but he's brilliant.
It's like my whole Instagram algorithm now.
It's just
it's so annoying because I see him all the time, and on my whole
is he
feed.
tired of slaying every day?
No, clearly not. But
it must be quite cool because Colman also, correct me if I'm wrong, but also kind of came up through theatre.
Yes,
so that must be really cool to kind of have that connection with him. It's his directorial debut. It's Sydney Sweeney, who's huge. What was that experience like?
It's an honour to work with Colman and Sydney, because I think they're both so incredibly special people that have fought to get to where they are. And I think, again, that's what filmmaking is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's all about what you then do with it. And this particular project is highlighting, I think, a very particular time in Hollywood and a very particular individual in Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, you know, besides this man's dancing and singing and all the rest of it, he had a lot to deal with racially. This thing about lecturing in film, there's no place for it, you know. But that's not what I care about at all. But I am really interested in finding what it meant to be a black entertainer at that particular time, and what that means, 60 years later now. You know, I think about America and we talk about Hollywood a lot, don't we? America's only existed for just over 200 years.
Yeah. Brand new.
It's a spanking new toy. Baby. I mean that in a really lovely way. Do you know what I mean? But it really is. It's very young. So you think then about Hollywood and the making of movies with, you know, colour coming into the screen. Sammy actually started when it was still black and white. So you throw all those things into the mix and you realise that he's part of a very, very, very important time in making movies, important time in representation. So it's going to be a special project for me.
Also, I just thought Colman obviously was nominated for Sing Sing. And you're doing a prison. That must also be quite an interesting conversation to be having with him.
Totally. And actually, I'll be honest with you, he's been an encyclopedia for, you know, understanding how it's not just movies, it's how it connects to people. It's all about communities, and they worked a lot with real prisons as well, and they worked a lot with real people. Like that's our films are like wildly different, but the same. And it's really, really, he's been such a good steer for me. So I'm really grateful for him. Yeah.
I thought his performance in Sing Sing
was next level. It was so special.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And aside from executive producing, you've also directed, you've also written. I mean, you have so many different hats that you're wearing at different times. But are you exhausted?
Yeah.
But creatively, is there something that you prefer? You know, is there a discipline that you prefer to another? Like,
there's just something about wanting to work. You know, I love my work. I love my job. But a lot of what people will find, filmmakers around the world, I'm talking about actors, I'm talking about directors, I'm talking about all of it, is that you're having to tell people what you are. It doesn't work the other way around. You know what I mean? Like if that was the truth, after, you know, industry, I'd just be doing the same thing. No one would not. We wouldn't have this conversation about all the other things that I've done, which I think confuses people, and I'm going to carry on telling them why. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just part of what it is. It's not for any other reason than just like, this is who I am. And you have to be able to hope that other people want to work with you to expand these things. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it feels. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. So I'd love to ask you a couple of quick questions. Maybe one about Alien Romulus and one about Meat Puppet, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
Although we will talk to you until you leave the room, to be honest, David. So talking of you always delving into different and unexpected projects, I absolutely adored Meat Puppet. It was a short that was
thank you.
nominated at the BIFAs last year. Just slipping that one in there again. Can you tell us a bit about how you came on board with that short? What was it like? making a short film compared to other longer features? What was it like acting with just your voice? What was it like lying down on that set all day? Like, I want to know everything. It was such a hilarious, bright short. It really stood out for me.
Thank you so much. And shout out to Eros V, who's just a legend, and all the team behind it, Masha. Everyone worked so hard on making that short film. I look, I guess I have a pact with my agent that no matter what I do, no matter how quote unquote big I get, I'm always going to do a short film a year.
Nice.
Because I just believe that, again, I don't know how people make short films. It's just not funding for them.
Yeah.
It's
We
not
talk
help
about labour
for
of
them.
love.
It's a
like the
complete
ultimate.
labour of love. So if
Yeah.
you get the chance to make a short film, and if I can add something to it, absolutely. And this was one of them. Eros took a swing, and he was just like, I know you're probably going to say no, but you're the only person I've thought about for this. And he had me in every single page of his deck. He was like, it's crazy. I know. Just have a read. And please, if there's any way we can get you on board, if not, no problem. And I read it and I just was falling out my seat laughing. I thought this was absolutely bonkers. And, and also I just thought they could do something for me as an actor, as in like expand what I think I know. And I loved doing it. I loved every second of it. I did lie on the floor quite a lot. I did have a flower pot broken over my head. I did have a lot of stuff, actually. I probably should get a lot more recognition for that.
Yeah,
100%.
pretty grueling shoot, actually. Yeah.
No, but
Your
honestly,
arm got
I
awful.
exactly. No, I'm joking around, but I really did love that short. So thank you for acknowledging it. Yeah.
Oh, it's always exciting. We love seeing the short filmmakers come through BIFA, and it's great. It's a great chance at the ceremony as well to have them rock up and meet everyone. So it feels, it can be a lot of the time a real entry into the business, which is so exciting. It's so exciting to see, like, where's that person going to go now? It's just it's really, really brilliant. And that there's something beautiful and economic about short filmmaking. It's very kind of pure, which I'll always fangirl over. Talking of Alien Romulus, then, can we ask what was the biggest difference going from these sort of indie projects to a big blockbuster, and what was it like having everyone watch that in the cinema?
I gotta be honest, it was a shift, but also because I come from theatre, like I still can't quite believe that there's snacks on set. Like seriously, we've got trail mixes and all the rest of it.
Craft, is that what it's called?
It's crafty. Yeah, exactly. I still can't believe that. So and that's on indie films. So then you go to like actual studio films, and like they've got everything. You've got drivers, you've got it's mad. So look, I mean, again, I just think it's all about the story. And Alien, to me, if I'm honest with you, read like an independent sci-fi.
Yeah.
It really the terms was all kind of before my time. I'm pretty sure all of our time. So I then had to refresh. And I was like, oh, it's from Alien, and then you realise it's this big franchise. But I was really honoured to be a part of it and just putting my name against some of the legacy that franchise has made is just nothing short of an honour.
And Kaylee Spenny, like you were working with some amazing people who were doing some other great stuff.
Well, again, like me and her always we would huddle up on set and just say, what is the indie version of this version of this film? Always, like, because we're both from independent cinema and theatre, really. She just come off of filming Priscilla, and we were just sitting there thinking about, right, how do we make this feel real? And then we found out our director was trying to do the exact same thing. And I think that the best, I don't mean this in a rude way, but some of the best filmmakers always come from independent cinema. I'm talking about historically. So, Great
segue into one of our quickfire questions, which is there a British indie film that you would recommend everyone to see?
Oh, this is really, all right.
It's a horrible question. Don't envy you.
I would say Stuart, A Life Backwards.
Yes.
Tom Hardy and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Yeah, really early on. I love that movie. I think it's got everything you want. Comedy, some drama, make you laugh, make you cry. It's great.
I was going to say I'm sold, but I've watched the film many times and read the book, so I was pre-sold.
The book is great too.
The book was the book was astonishing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We might have it somewhere.
It probably is. Yeah. If you've got a few hours to search. Cool.
Do you have an all-time favourite film quote?
Success is nothing without the person you love to share it with. Yeah, that's from Mahogany.
Oh, beautiful.
That's Billy D. Williams saying that to Diana Ross. I just love that quote. It's my dad continues to say that quote to me, and it rings true.
Is there a film you pretend you've seen that actually you haven't?
All of the Lord of the Rings.
Scandalous.
I know. See, this is why I pretend. This is
Sorry,
why I lie.
this should be a safe space for
It's a big time commitment. I
It's
get
just
it.
a massive time commitment.
is.
But listen, we all know it's great. Let's just say it's great.
Yeah, you're
saving it for the perfect moment.
I'm saving.
That's what
Honestly, I
always say.
am.
Like,
I am.
What's the first film you remember seeing?
It probably was like waiting to exhale, or maybe even like Malcolm X. I saw like a lot of Black American films, and actually, funnily enough, all like independent, like early New Line cinema. Do you know what I mean? And I remember seeing a lot of that because that's what we had in the household. Like, again, a big influence for me is like, why did my dad have that on? It was because I think that was the best way he felt represented. It's what you see about cinema. It is about representation. It's partly what I meant in my terrible BAFTA speech, but you know what I mean.
Partly what you said really articulately and eloquently in your BAFTA speech. That was fantastic.
Is there a part that you wish that you played?
There's two. Can I say two?
Yeah, go
Okay.
for it.
Of course.
All right. The first one will be Malcolm X, although I will never be as good as Denzel. And then the second one's probably just being in any role. The Social Network.
That's
Yeah.
one of my big rewatches. I've rewatched that film so many times.
It's just brilliant.
Do you have a rewatcher? Do you have a go-to comfort film?
Oh, so many. Superbad is one of these.
Yeah, great.
Watch that all the time. But almost any Seth Rogen film, but also like I really love Shane Meadows films.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever seen A Room for Romeo Bros?
Oh,
I haven't. I won't lie to
It's
you.
a deep cut, but that film is like, again, early Shane Meadows, just being brilliant, funny, and all that stuff. And then Dead Man's Shoes is another one. I just watched. I don't horror, dark. It doesn't matter. If it's a good film, I watch it again and again and again.
Was there a moment in a film you saw in the cinema when you were like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm watching this one in the cinema"?
Oh yeah. It would have been Anatomy of a Fool.
Oh,
yes.
It was at the end. It was the end, and I remember the whole audience kind of like going, and I was like, "Oh, this is theatre. This is live. You can't recreate this." It was that audience at that time. I love when cinema can do that.
Me and my friend have taken to YouTube to just watch the argument scene many a time
so
because
good.
it is
It's
absolutely
fantastic.
incredible.
Masterclass from
excellence.
Sandra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that dog.
Oh,
Incredible
Yeah,
acting.
great acting chops on the
Get
dog.
an
Yeah,
Oscar, please. Petition for
Let's
an
start
Oscar.
a campaign for the dog.
Unbelievable.
I'm down.
Maybe that could
Great
be the next
choices.
award that BIFA bring in.
Yeah, it should
Pet
be.
acting competition.
You heard it here first.
There you go.
There we go. It's been an absolute delight to chat to you. So thanks so much for
Thanks
your
for
time.
having me. Honestly, a pleasure. Thank you, BIFA. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the BIFA Podcast, supported by Kia. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to get new episodes as they land. And please tell all of your friends about the podcast to help spread the word. We want all the film fans to be able to find us.
The BIFA Podcast is supported by Kia. The hosts are Joy Hunter and Karis Aldridge. Produced by Daniel Aldridge and Kat Butterfield for Audacious Productions alongside the BIFA team. Director of Photography is Louis Hudd. Audio engineers are Nathan Cooper and James Gibbons McGregor. Filmed at Fiction Studios. Thanks for listening.